thank you for your organization, Sixiang and Nicola. And good afternoon and good evening to everyone. My topic is so broad, so I think I need to do some explanation of this topic. Usually we are talking something on a book. It's just looking some keywords from the book and thinking. But my research on the book of Universality, a supplement to the book of changes, is not just talking the concept spirit or qi in the book, but I want to present two kinds of understanding, especially the spiritual philosophy, how to understand this book, and why this book is important to us, especially we are researching on qi. So first, I will do some introduce of the author and the tradition of understanding of his book. The author of the book is Zhou Dunyi, who was lived in the 11th century. Confucianism revealed in China, and Zhou Dunyi was the most important one of the 5 masters of the Song dynasty. And in the tradition academic system of Zhu Xi's annotations, the Tongsu is generalized, regarded as the further interpretation of Taiji Tu Suo. These two books are all written by Zhou Dunyi, but in Professor Xu Fancheng's understanding, he thought Taiji Tu Suo is a fake one. So he just translate Tongsu totally and not pay attention to the Taiji Tu Suo. And Zhou Dunyi is in Song Dynasty, a famous poet and scholar, Huang Tingjian, has described his personality. He said, the grade of his personality is very high. He harbors nothing in his bosom. He is like the gentle breeze in spring and the bright moon after a rain. And Xu Fancheng's translation of Tongsu in the middle of last century reconstructed a routine in the direction of spiritual understanding. That is, Tongsu is a discussion of the universality and a supplement to the Book of Changes. Of course, the Book of Changes is the important routine classic of China. And in his translation, he is focusing on using his book to guide people to understand the Book of Changes. But this supplement to the Book of Changes is not try to explain the underlying method of the book, just how to use this book to help people to build their lives. So in these two kinds of routines, we can say Tongsu vs Taiji Tu Suo can be distinct two roles. Tongsu focus on how to implement Confucianism sagehood, and the foundation and guidance is the Book of Changes. But the Taiji Tu Suo focus on how to implement Confucianism sagehood, but the reason is organized by Zhu Xi's Li and Qi. And we can look around this map. In this map, Taiji, we always translate as the great ultimate, And this great ultimate, when he motive, it will becoming yang. And when the yang is moving limited, there will becoming yin. And when yin is stopped in the limited, it will alternative to yang again. And in this yin and yang are two disciplines of Taiji, and these two are also can be improved the 5 moments. And the 5 moments, we always translate 5 elements, but I think 5 elements is not correct in translation, because this is just not only the elements. We in Chinese characters used the word xing means to doing. So these motivating elements cannot be translated in 5 elements. We are prefer to use the translation of 5 moments. Okay. In the famous philosopher in Chinese history, Feng Youlan has translated Tong Su with this title. He said, general principles of the Book of Changes. This is the philosophy of cosmology thinking of Zhou Dunyi's philosophy. And another philosopher, Chen Rongjie, has translated Tong Su as portraying the Book of Changes. And his thinking is concentrated on metaphysics and aesthetics. Of course, the book, in our opinion, is concentrated on aesthetics. But how can we connect aesthetics to the universe? If we say it as the metaphysics, maybe we will confused in Chinese and ancient Greek. So Professor Xu Fancheng has translated this title with on the book. The Book of Universality, a supplement to the Book of Changes. His method or his he is concentrated on spiritual philosophy. So here we will distinct spiritual philosophy and philosophy. Why? He will announce the difference apart from Feng Youlan and Chen Rongjie. But before we go on to distinct, we will illustrate 2 chapters of this book, because this book has Zhou Dunyi's style is pithy, terse, and brief. This book is only have 3,700 words in China, and only 40 chapters. But his words is very brief. So we will take 2 chapters. For example, this is chapter 22, is on reason, nature, and destiny. This chapter is concentrate on the mind contents. We will talking in the Taiji Tu Suo, but because Professor Xu don't care Taiji Tu Suo, so he translate this chapter here. We can compare it to the different understanding of other traditions. So in this chapter is very important keywords, 二气五行. Here, 二气 means 2 principles, But here, qi is not translated as the mental real things. And 5 elements was being translated as 5 moments. So here we can look how to understanding the universe and the universe and the world, how to create it. What looms large is subtle. What cannot be resplendent is without a soul. Adamacy may be good or bad, as may be palency also. In pursuing the golden mean, one attains the end. 2 principles, 5 moments. Bring forth everything in the universe. The 5 are diversified, the 2 real. The root of the 2 is 1. Many are contained in 1, and 1 diversified into many, with the many and the 1 in place. Largeness and smallness are ascertained. So this is the outline of Chinese people wrote it from the classic work, the Book of Changes, to describe the universe, and in the universe have a spiritual, which is also the nature in people. So we were going to say the chapter 1. Chapter 1, the first word is sincerity. Sincerity is never to be a philosophy concept in metaphysics. But here in China, we can say this is the most important one, because sincerity is not just for people in aesthetics. It is used for talking about in the area of ontology. So if we say we used this sincerity, we explained sincerity is fulfilled within the university. So here we can say sincerity is the foundation of sagehood. Here is also using a keyword using in the university, but here it is used in the theme of sagehood, because in Chinese philosophy, how to complete a sagehood is the main question and the most important problem to Chinese people. So sincerity is the foundation of sagehood. How? So there will be some explanation and the reasons quoted from the changes. We will illustrate one just here. Therefore, it is said by Confucius that which is yin and yang is called Dao. Comprehending and governing and regulating both in goodness and accomplishing either is the essence. Here we know that when we say that 2 disciplines are connected to the essence, this essence is not just connected to people, it's also used in the universe. So, and all these books, we just find 1 times the word qi, but only this qi is also can be translated as spiritual. But in Zhu Xi's translation and Zhu Xi's understanding, he used li and qi to explain 太极图说 and put this book under Taiji Tusuo. So in Zhu Xi's translation and his followers, such as Feng Youlan and Chen Longjie, is in the tradition of seeing qi as something materials. But here, in Professor Xu's understanding, he thought this qi is disciplines, and these disciplines is connected to the spiritual. And when we say spiritual, we will explain how to understand in his presentation. Here we will give some distinction between philosophy and spiritual philosophy. In Professor Xu's thought, he has three results his spiritual philosophy coming from. First one is coming from Heraclitus' philosophy of fire, because when he was young, he go to Germany and read books in Berlin University, and he translate Nietzsche's books in China. And when he translate Nietzsche's book later, he is go on to learning Heraclitus based on the famous Vedanta philosopher in India, Sri Aurobindo, because Sri Aurobindo has do a work to command an introduction of Heraclitus, which is written by Leonard, an Indian writer. And his command is compared Indian philosophy to ancient Greek philosophy. So based on this work, Professor Xu translate Sri Aurobindo's English book, and he added nearly double number of the words to explain this, and adding Chinese philosophy into comparing. So when he learning from the Sri Aurobindo, is he concentrate on the fire. We always know fire in Heraclitus is very important because it's not like Punima, but the fire is not just the experienced fire. It's also some nature with the word. So when he translate this philosophy, he is aiding Vedanta philosophy, especially Ajini. Ajini is one of the god in ancient Indian philosophy. So when he explained Ajini, he used the Sanskrit analysis. Ajini is rooted from the word ji, and ji means life and with will. This life will is common to the fire in Heraclitus, and also this is very important. Is to the same is the same with Chinese classic works description of the becoming. Fire, Ajini, and becoming in China has the same expression, has the same understanding in the life and the universe. And also back into China, he is found becoming in the Book of Changing, and find the gene of Chinese spiritual from the Analects by Confucius. So this is his spiritual philosophy's results. So when we are talking this, we will know that spiritual philosophy is not a subordinate concept of philosophy. Spiritual philosophy is the superior to philosophy. The so-called superior is supermind, which not only contains philosophical rational spirit, but is not limited to logical thinking. The purpose of seeking the truth of the universe and life is not to gain objective field knowledge, but to implement it in the physical proof and the practice of life. So spiritual philosophy transcendent and integrate religion and philosophy. So when we are in the part 3, we will consider how to understand Tongsu, see him as a philosopher or see him as a scholar of classics. So in my opinion, if we will see Zhou Dunyi as a philosopher. This is in the tradition of Zuxi's understanding. And most of today's Chinese scholars is followed this trend. But if you are say Zhou Dunyi as a scholar of classics, we will find you are following the spiritual philosopher. So if you see him a spiritual philosopher, you can follow him to go on research the classics. It is mean that if we see him as spiritual philosophy, we just remind that he is. We have reminded in last slides that in great religion and philosophy, how can we integrate religion and philosophy? Here we will say that about the book of changes illustrate that in Chinese people's faith, that we will think the universe has 3 ultimate: the heaven, the earth, and the people. To these 3 ultimates, we cannot give some thinking or rational deduce and etc. This just face. If you are not face of it, you cannot go on. So if you have face of these books underline sentence of this expression, and then you can use your rational, you can use ration to thinking. So in about Qi, the tradition of mental realization, the tradition of mental realism is strong in explanation of Qi in China, especially today. And combined with the strong impact of Western philosophy, especially Plato and Aristotle's tradition, it always be seen as mental real things. And it is also just present before like Jiang Ce, spirit, about spirit, but there is also a tradition that spirit is the meaning of the universe and life, and the basic of the extents of the universe. And in this sense, Qi can be understood as spirit, not pneuma, more like Heraclitus' fire. In this sense, the research for the nature of external things is ignorant. But this ignorant is not over. Back to the book of change by spiritual philosophy, we can say, however, this does not mean that we should no longer pay attention to external world, but return to the tradition of the book of change, that is back to humanistic, researching nature and developing technology under the basic of inner oneness of the universe. This is a new way we can follow Zhou Dunyi and go on to explain the Book of Changes. Okay, that's my presentation. Okay, thank you.